Welcome to our newest edition of AmiSights. I'm Ami Kassar, your host, along with my co-host, Lynn Ozer, aka SBA Queen. And today, I have a special treat for you because we have two queens. We've got the SBA Queen and we've got the Cyber Queen, Sejal Lakhani-Bhatt. Sejal, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. And thank you for having me, Lynn. Oh, and Ami.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about you. So I know that you and Ami know each other fairly well, but for me and our audience, we want to hear your whole story.
And I'm excited.
The unedited version.
Always unedited, Lynn, always.
Okay, so Ami, how far back should we go?
Right from the beginning. Let's
Okay.
go. Share.
All right. So I can share, I'll start at the beginning. So
Good.
I am the daughter of an entrepreneur, and my mother's the person that supported my father. So I had a very supportive household. I have an amazing family. And as I started going through the typical sort of Indian bring up, right? It's like doctors and engineers, and this girl wasn't a school kind of girl. So I did make it through college, came out of college, and sort of, when people say you're at the right place at the right time, well, I think I had the right place at the right time, but it wasn't a luck thing. It was the relationships that I developed. And I ended up working a couple of years after I graduated college for a company called Merrill Lynch. And when I joined,
I never heard of them.
so when I joined this company firm, so understand my background. So I graduated with business and legal studies, and I was going to go to law school. Got into law school and decided, why am I going to go to law school? I don't even like school. So I decided not to go to law school. And I was kind of working at a place called USA Cable and then BMG, the 5 cents for like 50 CDs or something. And I was working for these companies, more doing like intellectual property kind of stuff. And then when I realized I didn't really want to go to law school, I'd gotten fired from BMG. And I was like, well, what am I going to do with myself? And my headhunter called me and was like, there's this reconciliation position at this company called Merrill Lynch. I was not in the financial area. I had no idea what the hell Merrill Lynch was. Well, long story short, I ended up working for Merrill Lynch, then Deutsche Bank, and then Morgan Stanley. And I was there for about 12 years of my life, climbed the corporate ladder. I was one of the youngest people as I was moving up through the ladder. I was everywhere from the trading floor to projects. I lived in London, Hong Kong. I lived in a lot of different countries, Singapore, etc., and had an amazing, amazing career. In that time span, I had 2 boys. They are now 15 and 13. But when I was at Deutsche Bank, I had both of my kids. My oldest one is 2008. And by the time I got to Morgan Stanley, my boys were about 4 and 2-ish, let's say. Okay, 1.5, maybe 3.5, 1.5. And I'm at this bank and I am working the most ridiculous hours. I am up at 5 in the morning. I'm at work by 7. I'm not coming home till 7, 8 o'clock. And I realized that I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this. I'm not seeing my kids. In 2008, when the market was in peak position, optimal position, and I was pregnant, my husband decided that he was going to quit his job and start a company. So I told you that my parents are extremely supportive. We went to my dad, who's an entrepreneur, and I said, Dad, God forbid this goes wrong. We don't want to live in a box when I'm pregnant or when I have my first child. And he said, I'll support you. You guys are good to go. And he started his first company. My husband started his first company. So when I quit Morgan Stanley in 2012, I wanted to be the that picture that you see of a stay-at-home mom, right? You have like, you're hanging out. I was going to Nordstrom's every day. I was doing yoga. I was hanging out with my neighbors. I was eating lunch here and taking tennis lessons. And I loved it, every minute of it, for like a month. And then the second month came. And by the third month, I was not a nice person to be around. Not for my kids. No comments on me. Not from my kids. Not from my husband. And I was just like, I was bored and I was like, I really want to do something. What do I do? Right. And just in general, I love having my fun time, but my fun time always included work. I'm a great relationship builder. My work people are my friends. My work people are my family. And my husband's like, well, why don't you come work for the company? And I was like, doing what? And I was project management certified. I was a Scrum Master. I had all these different certifications. And he goes, do projects for my company. And I'm like, okay. So in 2013, I started doing some projects, odds and ends for some of the clients of TechWerxe. And in 2015, I took over as CEO and I ran the sales, marketing, and operations for TechWerxe. And my husband became the person who ran all of the IT and the financial side. And when I came on by 2015, we grew the company 5 times, 5x. By 2018, we were a leading company in cybersecurity and in IT. We had clients all up and down the country, including international. We had relationships with other managed service providers across the country, across the world, really. I was part of multiple masterminds. We had built our own cloud services, and we created a true niche and a place where there are a dime a dozen companies. We were in that sense unique. We were the ultimate enterprise level solutions for small and medium businesses. So we did everything from my mouse isn't working and help desk, all the way to we're acquiring 3 companies and do strategic architecture. And we are providing widgets for the Department of Defense. And we have compliances we need to abide by. We have everyone from hospitals to manufacturing to pharmaceutical to hedge funds in our clientele. And we built an absolutely amazing company.
How many people were working there?
So it has changed. So if we're talking pre-COVID, we were at about 15, 16, including our help desks, et cetera. We've had to shift. So my husband passed away in 2019, actually, my husband passed away and I took over the company. And when I did that, we went through COVID the year after and we completely shifted the company. And the way we work the company now is definitely a lot leaner. And we have help desk and security operations centers that we share with other companies. So we have still about 24 or so people, but they're shared people.
So now let's backtrack a minute. It might be
Okay,
hard.
sorry, that was a lot.
That's a lot.
Awful.
Okay, I
I
totally
mean, it's a lot.
right. So okay. That's a big, tough transition. So you and your husband, first of all, what was it like running a company together? Did you want to kill each other?
Well, I mean, I'm amazing. So for
Of
him,
course.
it was great. It wasn't all unicorns and rainbows. We actually went to couples counseling. We had issues. We were living together. We were raising kids together. We had a company together. And it was really hard until we found the right boundaries. Family was family time. It was not work time. Date night wasn't, hey, by the way, did you make that phone call? And we had to work really hard on putting boundaries together on how we did that. And it took us a while. It took us a couple years. To really nail that down. But it was difficult.
Yeah, it's people go through that differently. My brother and his wife did it, and then yell at each other over the factory intercoms. I mean, it's crazy.
It is. It's a lot, and what I'll say is it wasn't always perfect, but there is nobody you can implicitly trust like your significant other. So to know that person is there, to know that you can, oh my God, I can't believe we had to fire that person, or that client left us, or we lost $1 million. And you have someone that actually understands it because they're going through it with you. So there are pros and cons.
And then your husband passed away. It was a shock, right?
Yes, I know. I kind of glazed through that. So, and I saw
a little detail.
It was, so in 2019, my husband had a heart attack unexpectedly. He was 39 years old. He was, I was the face of the company, but he was the brains behind the company. And his husband, he's my business partner. He was the father of my 2 incredible boys, and everything in between, right? And he
had a heart attack and died immediately.
He was in the hospital for 4 days. The whole situation couldn't have been worse than it was. I was away. My parents were away. His mother was away in India. My parents were in India. And they all live here, mind you. My parents live an hour away from me. My in-laws live about 25 minutes away from me. So there was a lot of nuances that happened in that time. It wasn't easy. The kind of person that I am, my first and foremost priority was my boys. And I'm the type that when things hit like that, I take logical steps. So I'm like, therapy for the boys. Need to find care, like a nanny, because I need, so it was all kind of like that. That said, yeah, that was, probably the most difficult thing that I hope I ever go through, because I don't think there's, I want to be through something like that again. It took
So
us.
you're mourning your husband on all the personal levels, plus you've now lost the brains of your company. And
Yeah, the IT
how do you
person.
replace him?
Yeah. How do I replace him? I have incredible relationships. And I will come back to this over and over again. I had several friends who, without my asking, without even saying anything, they went out, they snagged somebody from one of the top IT companies, or they thought they were the top IT company, but he was definitely one of the top people there. He took a pay cut. He knew that he was going to run my entire company, and he's still with me today.
Wow. Wow. So you had
So let's
friends.
talk, Sejal, about that transition. I imagine those first few years were brutally difficult. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So, people don't realize the little pieces that happen when someone passes away unexpectedly. Now, he was 39. And we did not have all of our documents in order. We didn't. But I owned a majority of the business. I am his wife. I'm the mother of his kids. So in that respect, things were a bit easier. But no, there was a lot of communication with clients. There's a lot of forgiveness on my client's part and waiting. They knew what had happened, but the kind of clients I have is that they're all friends. Well, I can go to drinks with any of the CEOs. And so I've had, again, very good relationships with my clients. We did not lose a single client while the company transitioned to my sole ownership. It took us 11 months or so to stabilize. We stabilized on January 10th of 2020. What does stabilize mean? Stabilize means that we had contracts with every single vendor. A lot of those contracts, all of those contracts were under his name. Even the ones I negotiated were under his name. We had a data center. We had cars. We had people. We had bank accounts. We had, funding lines. We had all of these things that were under his name. Some of them, the people were easy to work with and they transferred them to me. Some of them were impossible. I had to fire, let go. Some of them ended up in lawsuits. And when I say stabilize, we had the ability to actively help our clients at the same level that we were able to help them before. We had contracts in place. We had vendors in place, whether they were new or they were old ones that made the move with me. And we had a sense of clientele. Here's what we didn't have. We didn't do any sales. We fired our entire sales and marketing division. That was not where we wanted to be. We were not trying to bring in new clients. We were trying to keep the clients that we had. I cut the business in half. So I told you we'd 5x our company. I went to 2.5x. So we literally, by I'd say end of April, I had 50% of our business. People would say, well, why would you do that? Because I didn't know if I was going to succeed. I didn't know how I was going to do. I didn't know what I could take on. I didn't know how good the guy that we hired was. I didn't know. There's a lot of unknowns. Although my priority was TechWerxe, my priority of all priorities were my kids, and I didn't know where we were going to end up. And honestly, I didn't know if I was going to do the best job.
How did you handle it all emotionally? I worked hard with myself and I spent a lot of time with my kids. I didn't have time. I didn't grieve until about 1.5 years ago.
I was going to say, when did you ever have time to grieve?
I would say probably about 1.5 years ago. In 2022 midway is when I was like, oh, okay. I did not go to a therapist. I should have. My kids were in therapy every single week. We had family therapy sessions once a month. My mother stayed with us for about 2-3 months. again, I told you about my support circle as part of Entrepreneurs Organization, which is an incredible support to me, as part of a couple other mastermind groups that were hugely supportive, C4BX. And I worked. I made sure that my company succeeded. I made sure that my kids, they're not surviving, they are thriving. They're kick-ass, happy, well-adjusted kids. We talk about my husband all the time. I spent time on ensuring that my relationship with my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law, who at the time worked for the company and then didn't, was a solid relationship. So that's what I did.
I have a question regarding what you said about, everything wasn't in order. And in your business, like you said, the financing and contracts were in your husband's name and not in the business name. Was there a reason for that? And, I'm not sure I understand that part of it.
Yeah, so they were in the business name, but it was signed by Thage. It was signed by my husband. And so
Okay.
when we were moving over, I had the amount of paperwork I needed to send, besides the death
Okay.
certificate and the articles. Also, when we first started the company, we didn't have the right articles of operation and all. We didn't put it all together.
Yeah.
When I came in, we
That's what
made the legal move of giving me 70% of the business, but it was just in that manner. And there's no rhyme or reason to the 70%. It was like, oh, just take 70. I mean, we weren't getting divorced. We weren't, nothing, nobody was going anywhere. So just take 70%. And that's how, we did certain things, but we never went back and updated everything, because.
Okay. Yeah, that, I'm sure that there were, lawyers and people were there people that were trying to take advantage of it, so they could get out of the contracts, or that wasn't really
there were
an
people, there were
issue?
vendors that were not good vendors. Yes.
No.
There were people that there are always people trying to take advantage of something.
That's true. Yeah.
Essentially.
It's, so you purposefully downsized, and the people that left the company, i.e. your brother-in-law, was that at their decision or your decision?
Everything that happened was at my decision, whether it was in a good way or a bad way.
Okay. All right. So you were still majorly in control, and you said you closed
I
down
was the only
sales.
one in control, and I maintained.
You were running
Okay.
sales and marketing, and that's the part you closed down.
One thing you got to know about Sejal, she's always in control. Okay.
Always in control.
Let's get that.
Always in control.
Okay. Now, let's move forward to where we are today. Tell us about the company today. What do you do?
Okay. So when we started the company in 2008, it was because we wanted to give small and medium businesses the same peace of mind that a large business has. We wanted them to be able to know that their people, that their data, that their infrastructure is not only secure, but supported, and that they can trust the people doing it. It is harder for a small and medium business to lose $100,000 than a large business, right? Goldman Sachs can find that in their couch cushion. And I've maintained that. Our company is known for white glove service. We are a full service IT company, and we've managed to procure some of the best and more niched clients, which has been incredible. Our clients do believe that IT is a necessity, not a luxury. They believe that we're the experts, and they let us lead them and guide them as we take in their input. And we have everything from your regular help desk that you think about, all the way through to a full cybersecurity company. We were just labeled, I just got it the other day, we're in the top 100 in the nation for cybersecurity companies, and we were #1 in New Jersey.
That's great.
And
So who are your clients?
So we have a variety. Our clients are the people that have a good amount of data, that require their data to be secure, that have a wide variety of clientele, that are anywhere really in the country, that truly believe they need the peace of mind to sleep at night. They want cybersecurity, they want IT services, and they want someone not only competent, but somebody that's going to train them, guide them, and be up to date. Listen, guys, I was going through this the other day. There are about 71 variations of breaches that are released in a day. 71. Okay. Do you know how many solutions have to be released to even combat any of that? Our IT company is consistently training. Our guys are consistently training. We're consistently looking at what's out there. We're consistently talking to vendors. You want an IT company that's going to have that breadth of information, and our clients, that's what our clients want.
What size are your clients?
Our clients are between, let's say, 20 and 300 people for the most part. We have some larger ones that we supplement IT. Our clients are located in, right now, currently we have manufacturing, we have medical, we have pharmaceutical, life sciences, we have professional services like accounting, lawyers. We have marketing companies, PR companies, we have hedge funds, mortgage, title companies. So we're across the board. We have a wide variety of clients. And what all these clients have in common is that they're outsourcing their IT. They're usually outsourcing one or two other functions, and that's why they know that outsourcing IT makes sense. We are a flat fee company, so you put us on retainer, and we're pretty much everything you need on a month to month. So we're not counting hours. My techs are not incentivized by fixing your issue 4 times. We're more fire prevention than we are firefighting. We do firefighting, but our main part of our business is fire prevention. We don't want the issues to happen.
Right.
And how do you do this remotely? In other words, I always thought, like for our company, we're not 20 employees, so we're smaller than your range. But when we picked our company, our IT support security company, maybe wrongfully so, our assumption was we needed to go to a local provider. Although ironically, I'm not sure we've ever met them, but that's a separate story. But I mean, I know them, he's a friend of mine, but I'm not sure we've ever met them. So
right. So here's what I'll tell you. I would 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Pre-COVID.
That's rare, by the way.
I know. No, that never happens. Shoot, this is being recorded, isn't it? Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. Pre-COVID, most people felt more comfortable when their IT team was here. And even for us, we do have clients across the nation. And even, we have clients in Argentina, et cetera. And my husband used to go visit. Okay. Post-COVID, the world is different. We're working from everywhere. We're working globally, and we need to have the ability to work globally. So let's really break this down. What really happens on site? One, you get the FaceTime. Most people aren't in the offices anymore, let alone your IT person, okay? Right. Number 2 is, well, Sejal, I'm hiring people. I need computers. I need things set up. Now what we do is we ship everything to us. We get everything set up. Well, you have to do is plug it in, and hopefully you can find an outlet and the plug, and the two can match, right? So for us,
that's for me.
That's a big ask. So we don't have to be local anymore. But what you do want, regardless of whether you're local or national, et cetera, is you want to make sure that you're having quarterly meetings at the least with your IT company. And what do you want to go through in these quarterly meetings? What do you want to actually discuss? People always say, oh my God, well, I never see my IT person, so I don't know if they're doing anything. Or, well, my IT is great because my person's here all the time fixing stuff. That neither one of those is good, right? So the way TechWerxe does it is we've basically broken out everything into 2 different buckets, normal and trouble. Normal is the stuff that are good things, right? You're getting a new line of business application, you're hiring, you're firing, anything like that. Trouble is it was working yesterday and it's broke today. All right. You want to see that those trouble tickets are going down. Not only do you want to see that those trouble issues are going down, you want to make sure they're not popping up over and over, that we're not band-aiding it, but we're actually fixing the root issue, right? So that's one of the things you want to go over. You also want to go over any of your warranties. I have yet to meet a client, and I'd love it if you guys could introduce me to one, that has unlimited budget. Clients have budgets. I don't know why, but they do. But these clients that have budgets, they don't want to hear today, oh, by the way, your servers, they're going to be kaputs in a month. I'm going to need $40,000. That is not how any of us run a business. Why would you expect your clients to be okay with that? So we have quarterly meetings where we go through budgets. We go through a living document that has priorities. It'll have the client's priorities. Hey guys, we are merging. We want a new phone system, whatever the case is. It'll have our priorities. Hey guys, your warranties are up on 4 of these. Your servers are going to go bad. We want to move you to the cloud. There are 2 new solutions that need to come up. And then we prioritize and budget every one of these every single quarter. So you are clear on what your spend is going to be and what the priorities are. Hey, listen, we don't have enough money for this. Or, hey, look, your servers are going to expire in a year. We have a year to make up that money. In a year, you're going to be spending about $60,000, right? And so CFOs love us because everything can be budgeted. When you're hiring, you pay X amount more. When you're firing, you go X amount less. It is a very simple way of running a business. Isn't that what we do for our own businesses? We budget. We know what we're going to spend. We don't like unforeseen expenditures. So we don't give you unforeseen expenditures. We go through everything in a very methodical way. Other things that you should be looking for is, I love it when, CEOs are like, yeah, we have backup. Yeah, I think we have this. At the end of the day, it is on you. It is on you if something doesn't work. But my IT guy said it works. Have you tested it? Have they run it? You have a disaster recovery plan. Have you run it? Think about all the times we're in buildings and they run the fire alarm so that we all know exactly what exit to use, et cetera, right? It's the same thing. Check your backups. Check that your disaster recovery plan is working, because ignorance isn't going to help you and your clients aren't going to care. They're not going to give a shit if it's your fault or your IT company's fault. It's going to be yours.
Right. Yeah.
You know who runs our disaster recovery plan at our office? Lynn. We call her our CTO. If you're ever looking for an incredible chief technology officer, go for Lynn Ozer. She's amazing.
Sejal,
I know.
When you said we fix it, we do everything here, we send it to you, and you can find a plug, I raised my hand. That's me.
Yep.
I can plug it in.
Find that plug.
Plug
You're
and
like,
play, and it is really frustrating if it doesn't work. I've been through 7 companies that I work for, and they're all different. And then when there's mergers and acquisitions and system changes and all of that, it's it's difficult for the clients and the employees unless the tech company knows what they're doing, right?
So my secret power is that I came from the business side. I wasn't on the tech side at Merrill Lynch or at Deutsche or at Morgan Stanley. I was on the business side. I was the one picking up the phone going, I don't understand why it's not fixed yesterday. I don't understand. I sent the ticket in at least 10 seconds ago. How is it not working? Right? Because when we're running our businesses, when we're doing things, time is of the essence. Right. We all know time is money. Right. And we're frustrated and I don't have time. And if it's not my time, it's my client's time or somebody else's time. And so my superpower is being able to take all of that and give it back to the companies. We don't normally walk in. My techs will never walk in and say, we don't do that or we can't do that. I'm like, wait, they need this, but they don't necessarily need this. They're trying to achieve this and we can do it in this way. So let's give them that, because business people, they're not meant to know. The CEOs are not meant to know how your tech is running. They just want to know that it's running, that when they're ready to scale, it's going to scale with them. Right. And when they're ready to do something, it's going to work. And that their people are not frustrated and wasting their time. That's what they want to know. Right. And then over all of that, they want to know that all of their stuff is secure. They don't want to know how you do it. They just want to know that you're doing it.
Right. Yeah. And
then it's an interesting story for maybe for the listeners out there to think about this, because we just went through a major overhaul of all of our IT and our cybersecurity. We actually have cyber insurance for the first time in the history of our company. And what triggered me for it is that a friend of mine in YPO, in some of the workshops we do together, he asked, what could bring your business to your knees? And I think that's a super question, important question for everybody to ask. What could bring your business to its knees? Some of the things that could bring our business to our knees are out of our control, right? Mm-hmm. Like in our business, one thing that could bring our business to its knees is if Congress came up with a new rule that says SBA lenders aren't allowed to pay brokers, we'd be in big trouble.
Right.
We're trying to fix that through diversification, but that takes a long time. Another thing we recognized that could bring our business to its knees was we'd been bootstrapped our IT since the beginning and we'd never cleaned it up. And with all the personal information and business information going through us, and we said, damn it. I said, if that happened one day and we were attacked, the only person I could look in the mirror and blame was myself.
You. Yep.
And it's some pain, some sweat, but we did it. And Chris Scholler helped us with it.
Yeah. And I love Chris. He's incredible.
He's a great guy. And so what I'm telling that story to share with the listeners, like pay attention to this stuff. It's easy to ignore it, but it's something that's in our control because suddenly you're attacked and all your information is stolen, all your clients' information is stolen, and you didn't do anything about it, and you kept bootstrapped and this and that. The only person you could look in the mirror and blame is yourself.
Into that for 1 second. You said, well, some people ignore it, etc. People ignore it because of two things. One, they don't know it. They don't know enough about it to even figure out what they're ignoring. They don't understand it and they don't know it. And the second reason is because they think it's too expensive. They hear the word cybersecurity and they just see dollar signs across the board.
Right.
And those are two things. So that, that I address every time I speak with people. It is not too expensive. Some of those tools, some of these things are just settings that have to be put on top of each other. They're free. Some of these other tools are $6 a month per user, $7 a month per user. They are not very expensive. And the fear of not knowing is what keeps people from being safe. People are your number one cost. IT is your number two. And it should always be that way. Because if you lost all your people, you'd be brought to your knees. If I took all of your computers and your data away, if I erased everything, you'd also be brought to your knees. And I think people need to really, what we see a lot when we're talking to prospects and going into conferences and speaking engagements is the level of unknown keeps them from doing anything. Like, well, we think it's all being done, or we don't really know about it, or it hasn't happened to me. So here's the other thing. Small and medium businesses, 1 in 4, right? 1 in 4 get breached. It's that simple. 1 in 4 get breached. It's not that it hasn't happened to you. It has already happened and you may not know about it. It will happen. And one of two things will happen if it happens. It'll get blocked because you've got the right solutions in place, or it'll get in. But it will happen. And people don't realize that.
And it's not a problem as you describe it just for small businesses. I worked for large banks, and in the last 2 very large banks, well, they're not large, Morgan Stanley large. We're talking about, regional banks, which, 25 billion in assets, way bigger than multi-funding, for example. But when asked to the CEO, what keeps you up at night? Technology. What do you think your biggest issue is? Technology, keeping up with technology. When you're small and you think, it's an expense, when you're large and you haven't done it or kept up with it, it's even a bigger expense.
Huge expense.
So you can't grow and then put it in and not think it's going to be the most expensive thing you ever did. So, to Ami's point, every entrepreneur out there needs to listen to this. I mean, for those who own a cell phone and aren't even in business, you can get hacked, let alone having a business and having other people's data there that could be breached. It's beyond critical. So your point is so well taken, and this is really important information for all entrepreneurs to really listen to and pay attention. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Sejal, as you look into the future of the next few years, what are your biggest challenges besides putting up with me?
You're not a challenge. Like I said,
she can wrap you
every
around
day
her
and twice
finger
on
in a
Sundays
minute,
with my
Ami.
eyes closed and my hands tied behind my back. But the challenges are, so there's 2. One is the miseducation of people. It's so crazy to me still to go in somewhere and see that someone's like, well, we don't really need IT, or my daughter's boyfriend has it under advice. He's got this, right? It's scary because it's out there. And here's the other problem, right? Is these attacks that happen, I'm not going to use it. Let's say attacks happen to company X, and company X has data and information that they have access to for 30 of their clients. Now their clients are all at risk, right? So it's like a chain. It goes all the way down. And so one stupid person in the beginning could ruin hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars for small and medium businesses. When I say small and medium, Lynn, it's because the larger ones, yes, everyone has the ability to be breached and hacked, and it's a problem for everyone. But the medium and larger businesses, like the larger ones, regional, et cetera, they have a little more money. They have a little more give. Small businesses will be out like this. They will be out of business. Okay.
You're
When you look across the board, small and medium businesses, they employ the most people from their community. They have the most families that they are supporting. Okay. And there is no backup plan. I don't have a backup plan. Ami has no backup plan. This is his business. If it goes under, it is done. There is nothing else there. Right. So for the future, one is education. It is, we've done so much around education. I speak all over the place, helping people understand that IT is not a luxury, that money needs to be spent, that there are certain things that have to be done, and getting rid of the misinformation. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of bad IT companies out there that take advantage. They charge a ton of money and do nothing. They get breached. They move on. Their insurance kicks in and they move on, right? That business is dead in the water. The second thing is there are, like I said, there are, tens and tens and tens of breaches released a day, hundreds released a week. Okay. How do we stay on top of that? From a training perspective, from an education perspective, from a solution stack perspective, what do we need to do? 3, there's some serious unknowns out there with AI. I utilize AI in my business. I'm sure you guys utilize some AI in your business. What are the repercussions of what's going in there? Where is it being kept? How's it being utilized? Where's it going to be in 2 years, right? Our normal go-to is don't put any personal information into that, into AI. That said, I know people who have insurance companies, who have other companies, et cetera, and they literally are writing out full policies, and that policy has to be customized, right? It's tailored. And they're putting everything into AI to be able to spit out a finished product. And I'm saying do 70% in AI and do the other 30% by hand. But there's a lot of technology and a lot of unknowns coming in. And the fourth one, which is indirect, is going to be hiring. IT companies need a certain level of people. We are not finding easily those people anymore. Okay. IT companies do have more work hours because we work our clients' hours. We are there all the time. I have come up with a plan. I have actually completely gone in a different direction on how I manage my people and my hiring. So I've not had the issue in scaling, but most of my colleagues do. And it took me 2 years to figure out how to come over that. But it is, hiring is going to be hiring with the right skill set is going to be a significant problem. So I see those 4 major things, and that doesn't include what the political aspects is going to happen with the, what's going to happen through our different international relationships. But if I'm talking about small and medium businesses and I'm saying, hey guys, this is what you need to pay attention to, these would be the 4 things.
True.
Sejal, tell us a little bit about how EO has helped you through your career and your changes and your trauma and all that.
What?
I don't know if we have enough time to go through all of that. Listen. So any organization is what you make of it. Okay. EO has been my organization for years now. I have 2. And so it's not just EO, it's C4BX and it's EO. And both of these organizations, from the relationships that I've built, from the learnings, from the people that I talk to, from the amount of vulnerability that is expected and accepted, completely turns your life around. I wouldn't have my right-hand man. My kids and I would not have the relationship that we do. I went to a regional leadership academy. So he passed away February 28th. I want to say in mid-March, I went to an EO event, which I did not want to go to. I was like, you're insane. If you think I'm going to go to some event and party and hang out, I can't do that right now. And I got calls from multiple people in the global leadership, and they said, you got to go. Trust me. I know it sounds the same, but you got to go. I go, you want me to leave my kids for 4 days and go to an EO event? Like that makes no sense. It changed my life. It full on changed my life. After losing my husband, I had a very tough time with my boys. I wasn't ready to be a single mom. And the truth of the matter is my husband was a far better father than I was a mother. He was incredible, like the epitome of all fathers. Like like took them everywhere, did everything. Like he was just an active father. And going to an organization like EO helped me really learn, figure out where I was going wrong, not being judged for what my downfalls were so that we could fix them, and having the relationships for everything, for getting sales, for getting more clients, for building the business, I went through a lot besides my husband passing away. I had a lot of other stuff happen in those 2 years, and they helped me through all of that, right? And then helped me with all the personal. I started the first EO YPO singles group. I was like, I'm ready to date. Where do I find people? I'm like, EO, how do I do this? Boom, start a singles group, right?
Suckers.
Huh?
Suckers.
Listen, we have a great singles group. Our first retreat was in Delray. And so, every aspect of my life has been touched by you and continues to be touched by you. I still rely on it heavily.
What is C4BX that you mentioned?
Business Exchange. We started that organization in 2017. I was sick and tired with the bullshit networking organizations that do nothing, or they count how many referrals you give. This is a bunch of people that have the ability to make decisions in their businesses. So they are either partners, CEOs, or high up. And we sit down and we discuss what's going on, what's coming up, the future, things that are affecting the environment, the landscape, supply chains, everything in our own fields. We have all different verticals. And through that, we obviously do business, get referrals.
Is that local or nationwide?
C4BX is local.
Got it. Cool.
That's great.
Sejal, how do people find you if they want to? How do they find TechWerxe?
TechWerxe is TechWerxe. So you just go to our website, techwerxe.com. You can, my cell phone, if you go to techwerxe.com, or you can go to sejallakhani.com. I do speak publicly all around the world. And so you'll find all of my information there.
That's great.
Sejal, I love you. It's been a treat to have you. Thank
Certainly
you so much.
has.
for
Your
sharing.
energy and enthusiasm are infectious, and it's a delight to listen to you. Really,
We've had the Cyber Queen and the SBA Queen all on the same show.
I'm just saying,
Now,
it's actually, my website is www.cybersecuritychick.com, just so you know.
there you go.
awesome. All right. So we
It was a
thank
pleasure.
you so much.